families compete to name the most popular responses to a survey of some simple questions. The answers are locked into our game board and every point is worth 50 rand.
If a mother created her son's online dating profile, she would say he is what?
Handsome.
Handsome.
Picture this. You are Steve Harvey. You have hosted Family Feud for years. You think you've heard the dumbest, wildest, and most unhinged answers humanly possible. You think nothing can shock you anymore. So, what do? You pack your bags, catch a flight, and bring the show to South Africa. Welcome back to the channel, family. If you love hilarious game show moments, legendary facepalms, and breakdown videos that make you laugh out loud, you are in the right place. Smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and let's dive into the chaos. On the other side, representing Johannesburg, we have the Chura family. They didn't just come to play, they came to party. And leading the Chura squad is Miriam, a woman whose level of excitement for Steve Harvey literally almost caused a medical emergency in the studio. Let's just say, the stage was set for pure comedy gold. ACT 1, bikinis, alcohol, and language barriers. The show kicks off with the classic face-off. Steve looks at the board and drops the very first question. Name something you need for your December vacation. Now, remember, December in South Africa is peak summer. It's hot, it's beach season. Marcia hits the buzzer instantly and yells, "A bikini!" Steve, being Steve, gives his classic look and says, "Well, I guess you better do that, girl, because I'm definitely not putting on a bikini." Can you imagine Steve in a bikini? Let's not. But then the Chura family gets a turn, and they yell out, "Alcohol!" Honestly, accurate. If you've ever survived a family holiday, you know alcohol isn't just a preference, it's a survival tool. The Vermeulen family takes control of the board, and this is where Steve starts interviewing the contestants. He finds out Marcia is a medical doctor researching HIV and TB. Steve is impressed. He moves to her husband, Dane. Steve looks at his cue card, blinks, looks back at Dane, and says, "Man, I think I'm dyslexic. For a whole minute, I thought your name was Diane." I was sitting here struggling, thinking, there is no way this boy's name is Diane. Next up is Crystal, a university student studying humanities. Steve asks the golden question every humanities student dreads. What kind of job do you actually qualify for with that? Crystal says she wants to be a writer. Steve takes this moment to remind everyone that he actually flunked out of college. He got expelled because his grades were so bad, but hey, he made it. He jokes about how he tried listening to calm music, traditional South African amapiano, and Kwaito music to get smart. But apparently, it didn't teach him a damn thing. ACT 2, the need for an interpreter. As the vacation round continues, things get wonderfully weird. Steve moves down the line to Lauren Lee, a teacher who is wearing a festive December hat. Steve notices she's engaged and asks, "When your fiancé met you, was your hair this color?" Suddenly, Lauren Lee starts crying laughing, like actual tears pouring down her face. Steve stops dead in his tracks. He looks at the audience, genuinely terrified, and goes, "Wait, are you crying because I'm laughing? Look, I know I'm funny, but I ain't been this damn funny in my life." He literally thought he broke the poor woman. Then Steve moves to her brother, Christopher, and asks what he does for a living. Christopher replies in his thick accent, "I'm an agribusiness consultant." Steve looks at him like Christopher just spoke ancient Martian. "I can't understand a word you just said," Steve says. So, Steve does something unprecedented. He calls Christopher out of his spot, makes him walk all the way down to the center of the stage, and says, "Look, you stand right here. You're going to be my family translator because I have no idea what's happening over there." Christopher has to explain that agribusiness just means agriculture. Steve's face is pure defeat. His realization hits. He is thousands of miles away from home, and the English language has left the building. ACT 3, how to look younger. Dane and the opposing captain face off. Dane drops facelift, which gets on the board, but the Vermeulens get control again. Crystal steps up and says, "Makeup, Steve." Steve looks at her and sighs. "I hate makeup. I've been putting it on for so many years for TV. The second they yell cut, I am in the back with the wipes tearing it off my face." Then Christopher steps up with an answer that confuses Steve all over again. He says people drink detoxing juices or American juice. Steve stops. American juice? America has a special juice? Christopher corrects him. No, a miracle juice. Ah, accents strike again. But the absolute highlight of this round is when Crystal gets another turn and says, they get themselves a younger partner, Steve. Steve's eyes light up. He realizes he finally gets to use the South African slang he's been practicing. He proudly looks at the camera and says, "Oh yeah, a slay queen." And then the slay queen tries to find a blesser, The crowd goes absolutely wild. For context, in South Africa, a blesser is essentially a sugar daddy, and a slay queen is the girl being pampered. Steve was so proud of himself for learning the local lingo, he looked like he just won an award. ACT 4, Miriam's heart attack and the great funeral mystery. By round 3, the Chura family finally gets a chance to play, and this is where Miriam loses her absolute mind. Steve walks over to her, and Miriam starts shouting with pure joy. "Steve! I saw the newspaper that said Steve Harvey is coming to South Africa. My heart started beating. I started panicking. I told everyone on the road." Miriam starts dancing, singing, and chanting, "Harvey is here! Oh yes!" She literally turns the game show into a stadium concert. Steve is just standing there, letting her live her best life, looking equal parts flattered and deeply concerned for her blood pressure. But the real comedic peak of the episode happens during the double points round. The question, name something you associate with a funeral. The Chura family takes control. They get crying and coffin. Then Uncle Julius steps up and suggests undertakers. Good answer. They get flowers, dead body, which Steve points out is pretty necessary for a funeral, and wearing black. But then, with 2 strikes, they need one more answer to clear the board. The answer they give? Food. And it's the number 1 answer on the board. Steve is completely flabbergasted. He roasts them right there on stage. What are y'all doing in South Africa? You set up a tent, you don't even have a body yet, and you're just standing around eating fried chicken? Honestly, if you know anything about African funerals, the catering is top tier, so the survey didn't lie. ACT 5, the Fast Money finale. After a fierce battle and Uncle Julius saving the day by guessing car breakdown as a classic excuse for being late to work, the Chura family miraculously steals the game and heads to the Fast Money round for a jackpot of 75,000 rands. Kasuna goes first. She handles the pressure like a boss, scoring a massive 128 points. She gets great scores for saying a kid's princess party needs a crown, and a compliment for a woman is beautiful. Then comes the final teammate, who needs just 72 points to take home the grand prize. The pressure is on, the clock is ticking. Steve asks, name something you might find in an ice cream container. Now, if you are from an African, Asian, or immigrant household, you already know the answer to this. You never, ever find ice cream in an ice cream container inside a family fridge. What do you find? He blurts out, ice cream cones. The buzzer goes off, they reveal the answers. They are just a few points short of the 75,000 rand jackpot. Steve looks at the board to reveal the number 1 highest scoring answer for what's inside an ice cream container. The board flashes, leftovers. The entire studio erupts. It is the most relatable, culturally accurate moment in the history of the show. Steve just shakes his head. Even though they missed the jackpot, they still walked away with over 45,000 rands and a whole year's supply of KFC worth 10,000 rands. Honestly, a year of free fried chicken? That is a massive win in my book. And that, my friends, is what happens when Steve Harvey brings American energy to South African culture. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, give this video a huge thumbs up, share it with a friend who needs a laugh, and don't forget to subscribe for more epic game show breakdowns. Until next time, keep laughing, stay awesome, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.